Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome to Let's Try Dungeon of Endless. Today, myself and Michelle
Hello.
will be covering this game. It's a strategy-roguelike made by Amplitude Studios, the same people that made Endless Space.
And
they're
Horatio.
Yes, Endless Space has a faction called Horatio. It's quite funny. But they're also working on Endless Legends, so they have some kind of funky ideas, and they really like the word endless. But I can assure you, Dungeon of the Endless is quite assuredly not endless yet. So, why don't we hop right in and watch the kind of Mega Man Legends-y style cutscene. It's very polygonal and pixel texture.
Just watch the crew number dwindle.
Those are crew number. There are a lot of prisoners. Crew 11, 10, 9, 8. That's fun. Actually, I didn't even notice that. I was too busy admiring the
So there were over 300 people on that ship.
minimalistic texturing.
Now there's only 4.
Well, there were 600. It was a prison cruiser.
600? Prison cruiser.
Yep. Okay, so Dungeon of the Endless. You start on your crashed spaceship, and all you have is a door. Now, this game was kind of cool. The teaser trailer was like, what's behind the door? And it was like super exciting and stuff like that. You start with 2 characters and this crystal thing. You have to defend the crystal thing at all costs and bring it with you for some odd, mysterious reason. But I really like it for a lot of weird reasons. So,
A banquet table?
yep. Yeah, you can find random resources scattered all over the place. Resources are shown at the top left corner. You've got industry, science, which is not in the alpha. By the way, this game is still in alpha. I didn't mention that earlier, but this was just released on Steam today. I think today is December 11th, 2013. And so it's still in alpha, so if it's missing features or looks a little barren, they're still working on it. This game is far from being done. But it works pretty well. I've only run into a couple of bugs. And so back to resources. So you've got industry, which is used for building structures. Science, which is used for the tech tree that is not available yet. Food, which is used for healing and recruiting new heroes and leveling them up. And then dust, which is used for powering rooms, which I'm going to do right now, by middle clicking.
Because by powering rooms, you actually sort of fend off enemies.
Sort of. So dust can be used also as a currency for shops, and hopefully we'll get to see one. But so I'm going to make a industry generator. You've got a little building menu down on the bottom left. Now, before I get into that, I'm going to make one mention. All these resources are the exact same ones as in Endless Space. It seems like they've carried over a lot of the core concepts, the user interface stuff, which I actually kind of dig. It made things much more familiar to hop into. But so I went down to the bottom left, selected the top one, which is an industry generator. It costs 10 industry to make, and it increased my industry generation from +2 to +10. And that means I will be able to make more structures as I go through. I could also make a food one that does the exact same thing with food. But as far as structures that I can build, currently I can make these tiny little defense turrets that will shoot enemies as they come into the room. So the way this game works is kind of much in the same... Actually, that was a bad idea. So, this works much in the same way as most
Oh, there they come.
roguelikes, where your entire goal is just to proceed through the dungeon, powering yourself up, and getting to the end. In this case, getting to the end is finding the exit, and then carrying your crystal through a gauntlet of enemies. So we should see that shortly, but this game is kind of turn-based. So right now, I can't move around, I can't do anything, I can't attack. At the end of every combat phase, all of my characters are healed back up to full. And I'm going to make a food producer here. I'm going to make another defense thing, because I only have room for one. So, I mentioned dust powers rooms. If you look at the top left, there's the yellow circle for dust with the number 30 next to it. Every time you get a new tier level of 10, you unlock a new slot here, which lets you power another room.
Mm-hmm. Now, in other playthroughs, I've seen you with different characters.
Yes. I think there's a cast of about 6 to 10 characters, and a couple of small number of items. So right now, I just picked up a 6-gun, which is a kind of crappy pistol, all things considered. But I can't use it yet So, because this character uses swords, and this character uses spears, so I can't use either. Currently, I have Sarah Numis and Otbot DV8. So, currently both of these characters are pretty weak. I've definitely had like really heavy combat related characters, and these two seem like they'll be more. This guy can equip spears, so I just got him a fairly crappy spear, but now he's got higher attack and
It's called crutchy.
Yes, it is called crutchy. It is literally a crutch. The items in this game have silly names and even sillier descriptions. So, so every time you open up a door, a couple of things will happen. You will, oh boy, this is bad. Ah, damn.
She's dead.
I was too busy talking to be paying attention. Well, you know what?
And now you're doomed?
I'm not doomed. I'm just severely in trouble. Because now, what I would normally have to do with 2 people, I have to do with 1 because I was too busy running my mouth instead of paying attention to her health.
Yeah, you have been running your mouth often enough.
Yes. So, guess I'm just going to deal with it and hope for the best. So I'm going to make another industry generator. Because now that it's a solo project, I have to bolster my defenses heavily. So now I have those 2 little turrets, which should really help. So anyway, when you open a door, a couple of things will happen. 1, monsters will spawn. And if no monsters spawn, or even if monsters spawn, you'll run into guys like this. This guy is a merchant. You can buy all these various things with dust. So I can buy armor, little utility devices that go into your device slot, and more weapons. And color has like a relation to how powerful it is, so this gray thing is not as good as this green thing, so on and so forth. But also dust cost, I don't know, I haven't really analyzed it too much.
I just want to take a moment to read what it says. It's a market, even if it's all small and smelly and dark, dangerous, violent, ...
Here, you might get a kick out of Crutchy. Adapted by a prisoner from a mobility aid, the cute nickname hides its brutal efficiency. Still a crutch. Alright, so I opened the door, no monsters spawn, merchant was there, I can talk to the merchant. Now, monsters will spawn randomly in the room you're entering, but they will also spawn from rooms that you have already visited and opened the door to that are still dark. So I haven't found any resources, but every time you power a room, it becomes lit. I just found a rapier for the character that died. Yay. Okay. Oh, hey.
Oh, is that a new guy?
Yep, that is a new guy to replace my dead one.
Thank goodness. And there's no way you can bring back old...
Nope, you can't. This is a roguelike. Once a person is dead, they are dead.
So does that mean that you'll always be less one individual
sort
than
of.
you should be?
So, one thing, the top right shows what characters you have. You can only have 4 players. So I could conceivably find more people to fill out the space and make up for the fact that, you know, she died off. So, if I'm lucky, losing her is only going to set me back in the beginning, and then when I hit the end of the game, it's barely going to be even noticeable. I've actually beaten what is available in the alpha client, which is, I believe, 3 levels. If you notice in the bottom right, you have level number and open doors, and each of, you know, it, as you go down, there will be more doors to open, more monsters, and it'll be harder. So, you can only make it to the end of level 3, and then it just stops you. I'm kind of hoping it will just let you go down forever, or to a certain point, but I am not sure. Okay, so
well,
I said...
yes.
I said enemies will spawn in dark rooms, so it just had a little pop-up saying, waves incoming, and had 2 little markers for these rooms on the left over here, meaning a bunch of monsters spawned over there and are coming to kill me. And that's why I build these turrets all over the place, because then they can't ransack a room properly. However, if you notice, my guys are kind of injured, so I don't really want to like go out hunting and killing them on my own. And that's fairly normal for this game.
What's that symbol for?
This is the exits, with a little crystal next to it, meaning I can drag the crystal here and leave. But I don't want to do that yet. Because there's no penalty for sticking around on a floor. So it's in your best interest to stay on a floor as long as possible.
Really?
And gather as much stuff as possible, yeah.
Oh, so you mean just keep going through doors until you find potential new recruits and...
items and stuff.
Yeah.
So the last time I played through this... Also, this enemy pisses me off because they don't actually stop to fight. They just keep going to kill you. Okay, so I'm going to show off something else just for a second. You can also level up your heroes with food. So I'm going to level them both up to level 2 because I like to keep it equal. Anyway, what was your question? Didn't you have a question? Oh, right, we were discussing sticking around as long as possible. But, if you notice, I didn't mention this. So every time you open a door, see this little plus 14, plus 6? And then, this doesn't actually have a plus next to it, but when I open this door, it goes plus 14, plus 6. And then the monsters spawn. That means the, resource growth is applied to my resource count. So opening as many doors as possible on a level increases how much resources I have, which is very useful. Let's see, so I can power another room, which... I guess I'm going to power this one because it's got a good builder section on it. I can use that for food.
Well, watch out.
It's okay. I've got this guy and a pair of shooter turrets. Now, the enemies will generally avoid attacking your defensive structures. So, I can pretty much leave these things unattended, but they will attack your resource gathering nodes. So this thing would get attacked. So I'm going to drop just one of these. Now, you will also pick up blueprints. I'm sure there's been a pop-up somewhere saying, you know, blueprint found. And so I got this thing that boosts the damage of my heroes in a room. But you can find blueprints for better defensive structures. I don't think there's anything under this. You can get one that like heals your heroes in the room or boosts their defense and stuff. It's fairly basic right now. I'm hoping they add a lot of like weird, cool things as opposed to just like does extra damage.
Food.
Yep, food and invasion. So I'm gonna get this guy back to defend because this one has significantly less defenses than the other one. With any luck, he can finish it off and I can move them up. Yeah, it's a lot of insectoids, some like weird crystal creatures, and a little bit more on the like generic humanoid alien. Maybe not what you would see in Star Trek, but recognizable form nonetheless. Okay, so...
You weren't able to claim it the last time.
Yep.
Okay.
So... I really like this game, actually. It's kind of bare bones right now, but that's expected. We were commenting on the music, which actually seems to have slackened off for a bit. Oh boy. 3 waves incoming. Fantastic.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you can also use food to heal your guys. So my robot was starting to get really injured. So I gave him the old healy-do. Okay, so if you know, I had mentioned, these guys don't stop for anything. They just keep walking for your crystal.
So they forge ahead to your crystal?
Yeah, so if you're not paying attention to them, they'll just walk past you and kill your crystal while you're being distracted by other things. Which is frustrating. It seems, well, I mean, it makes sense from, like, a gameplay point of view, but tactically, no one would ever do that. That is complete nonsense. Okay, so, kind of back to singing the praises of this game. I've never played a strategy roguelike, and it makes a lot of sense. It's a very unique concept to me. I like the music, and the graphics are really cool. It reminds me kind of a mixture of... Have I showed you any of Hyperlight Drifter? Or no?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, okay. I'm going to be pre-ordering that. It was on Greenlight, but I don't greenlight things generally, but it looks like it's going to be well worth it. But just that really nice pixel art. Like, it's kind of the cross between minimalism and high detail that's perfect. So, like, the ground tiles are amazing to look at. The walls are really pretty. But the characters themselves look something a little bit more like slightly more high-def Risk of Rain characters, which you also haven't seen. I need to show you more indie games. Or
I think part of it is...
Sword and Sorcery.
They lit it well. If you notice, there are little spotlights.
Yeah. Well, in the trailer, it actually shows dynamic lighting. Currently, I think you only get a bit of a shadow when he moves in front of the crystal, and it's kind of breaky.
So you mean that they actually create shadows and things flicker?
Yeah, they're going to have that in the final build of the game, as far as I can tell. So, okay. So at this point, I've just explored the entire dungeon, so I'm going to...
Really? It was all dead ends?
Yeah, it's all dead ends at this point. So I'm going to go check something, actually. I'm going to leave this guy here. I'm going to send this guy to go check for me. Hey, the merchant is still alive. Perfect. So, I still have a fair amount of dust, but I'm going...
Guard uniform,
Yep.
bulletproof vest.
So I'm going to buy myself armor. I'm actually going to waste all my money. Okay.
What's a mag for?
It's a spare magazine. Here, let's...
For a moment, I thought you meant a magazine as the paper magazine.
It is.
Really?
Yeah. Most likely jettisoned from a bathroom when the ship crashed. It is good to have a spare magazine around to read when you are bored. It gives you +6 attack power, but reduces your wit. Which is a... wit is only used for, like, techniques and repairing stuff. Which this guy will not be repairing a darn thing. This guy will be. So the robot will not have the magazine. However, I'm going to put the bulletproof vest on this guy and the guard uniform on the robot. Oh, can't do that. Okay. So yeah, game is really pretty. Now, if you notice, I just spent all of my dust. So I can't even power this room or any other room.
Right, they're dark.
So, meaning we're going to be doing something a little risky, but kind of interesting. And I hope this works out.
What, you're gonna carry your crystal through in the dark?
Yep. I'm carrying it in the dark. Which, like I said, risky, but I've got food. And I've got really good armor on this guy, so he can hopefully tank a lot of things. Now, the monsters will spawn infinitely until you have cleared. Until you've either died or gotten your crystal to crystal chamber, which I just did. And you do that, you get a nice little, like, here's your score, and you also get to keep your industry and food. Not your dust from the previous level. And also gives you a score at the very end of the game. But then you are thrown onto the next level in a significantly less tenable location.
Right, because there's 3 access points.
Luckily, the monsters will not break through until you have opened the door.
doors.
So I can actually just leave this guy here as a defensive person and more or less send this guy out as a gopher. Getting various rooms, items, and getting resources. It's quite useful. So instead of actually continuing here, because this room is not very defensible, I'm just going to leave it as a industry generator and leave it alone, because the monsters will not bust through this door or spawn here. So this is safe until I feel like exploring further. So I'm going to go this way. This room is actually the exact same way, so I'm going to do the exact same thing.
You're not even going to put... Well, I suppose you wouldn't need to put turrets down.
Yep. But this one, no resource generator, slightly more defensible, but I can't power it. Oh, I can power it. I'll do it. Whatever. So, unfortunately, I don't have any blueprints. So, yeah.
Basic guns.
Yep. So, at this point, I've pretty much shown everything in the game. You can have up to 4 characters. You can get to the end of level 3 in this current build. You can also demolish stuff, which is... yeah. But I think that's it. Now, I might as well get into complaints, and then you can complain about whatever you want as you see it. Fair enough. Since I've already gone through this game, the first thing I ran into is the tutorial is super easy to miss. It's like kind of just this big open image, and if you're not paying attention, you miss the fact that it's actually the tutorial, and it has... here, I might as well actually just pull it up. So this is what you get. Welcome to Dungeon of Endless. You think it's like... yeah, the artwork is kind of this nice pixel painty thing. But you have next in the bottom right corner, or skip. Now, I didn't realize this is a tutorial, it doesn't say it anywhere, so I just instantly clicked skip. But then I was like, wait, where's the tutorial? Went into the pause menu, checked out the tutorial, and was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense. Here's my next complaint. The tutorial is based on time, so you actually have to wait for things to pop up. So if you're waiting for, bullet point number 3 to show up, you actually have to wait 15 seconds, which isn't terrible, but it's still frustrating. I think my other major complaint right now is that the game is still in alpha stage, which is a shoddy complaint at best. If only because it's like, the game is not finished. You don't expect more from it. But I really would like to see this game in a further along stage, because right now there's no real variety of strategy. It's just, get to the end. Okay, I just got this guy Happy Pills, which increases his attack power by 5 and wit by 4, so he should be super good at repairing things. You can also only get your heroes up to level 5 at this point as well.
Ooh, skeletons.
Yep, they're skeletons. So, for the most...
I wish that there was more, lore lying around. I noticed that sometimes there are interesting devices or things that could perhaps go towards a story element, but there really isn't.
Yeah, lore would be very nice, honestly. Because it seems like you could fit a story into this. Journals lying on the ground, people to talk to. Because there are merchants and there are other folks, but...
Yeah, for instance, why was the merchant there going, oh, she's a wonderful place to set up shop?
Uh-oh. It's one of these things.
Uh-oh. Yep. Oh, it gives you a little alarm.
Yep. Yeah, it makes it pretty well known that your crystal is under attack, which is nice. Mm-hmm. I guess one of my other complaints, and hopefully this is mitigated by the research thing, is that if you don't get any defensive blueprints, your run will start getting really difficult really fast.
Now, does each wave of enemies become more and more difficult over time, or is it based on the level of the floor?
It's based on the level of the floor. So most waves of enemies will be about the same difficulty here. However, the more rooms you open up, but don't light, the harder it's going to be. So...
Whoa, what is this guy saying?
Some things here are sacred to my people and my blade is sharp. I can recruit her. Can't recruit her yet. But now I can recruit her. Recruit. Okay, so now I have her. The problem is, she is super weak. So instead of actually keeping around her and fighting, I'm going to throw her back into the fighty
Now what is
chamber. She is an avian lady.
Do you think they're using the same races as in Endless Space?
Yes, probably.
Because weren't there the,
Yeah. I'm more than willing to bet it's the exact same universe. I'm really disappointed that we haven't run into a Horatio. So, for those of you that haven't played Endless Space, which is quite likely, these games don't have a whole lot of crossover in, gameplay style. Horatio is a faction of, more or less an entire race of clones of one guy. Whose name
thought
is...
himself perfection, and etc.
Whose name is Horatio, which is incredibly egotistical, but absolutely hilarious, and I love it. So I have to keep an eye on her health, because she's pretty low. So, here's a bug.
Battle stopped?
Yeah. So we might actually have to stop here. Oh, wait. Okay, getting them out of the place, let the monsters come in.
Maybe the monsters were just stuck on an invisible wall or something?
Yeah, so they couldn't fully come into the room. So since... the characters have their own, pathing and placement in the rooms, and I can't control it, you will run into weird bottlenecky issues like that. Sometimes the characters will get stuck on invisible architecture and can't move until either a monster comes up and they engage on the monster, or until you clear the level. I've only ran into that once, and luckily I died almost instantly, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was still kind of frustrating. Unfortunately, I did not get it on camera because I was not ready to film. But overall, I really like this game. It's got that really cool real-time strategy.
Ooh, a fire pick?
These are...
thing.
Yes. These are actually really neat.
Ooh, an augmented blade.
I haven't run into most of these items yet. So one's a spear. Actually, that spear is probably better than what the other guy has.
You mean your robot? Yeah, your robot wields spears.
I'm actually going to pick up the augmented blade. Okay, so now she has items. So, did she get it? He got it? Oh, okay. That means she can get the rapier. So, I like the art. The music is fantastic. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Currently, if you pre-order it, you will get the soundtrack included at the final release of the game. It is $10. It is on Steam. I don't know if it's anywhere else. So if you're anti-DRM, I think you might be out of luck here. But you can also pre-order like a Founders Pack or something like that for an extra character at release. I'm going to run this guy back so he can run defense with everybody else. And you might be in a little bit of trouble here. But, so the Founders Pack is like $15 instead of just $10, which is honestly an equally decent price. Currently, if you want to get your money out of it, I would say wait. The alpha is just a little too barren for anybody who feels like getting a substantive game out. But if you want something that has great potential, I would recommend this. And considering Amplitude's pedigree, it's at least going to be, pretty. It's going to have great music, though I don't know why the music turned off at this point.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
And you know what? This is a very unique game, which I am very impressed by. I've never played anything like this. And that's really cool to me.
I'm having fun watching you play this, and I usually don't like 2D sprite, sort of viewing the battlefield from above kind of games.
Yeah. But it's got a lot of tactical elements. But as I said earlier, one of my main complaints is it's still in alpha. And so there's very little variety in runs apart from like what blueprints you get, but there are so few blueprints that you pretty much end up getting all of them within a little bit.
Oh.
Crap, that guy. Again. So...
Now, is he the only monster that presents some sort of unique challenge?
Pretty much. Some of them will specifically only go for like your hero, some of them will go for your buildy structures, but except for that guy, most of them just attack the first hero in sight. And that's it. Which is kind of boring. But, yeah. I guess I've been kind of dallying around. I like this game. I can't wait until they finish it. So I'm not going to open up this door, but now I've explored this room. So they won't come through this door. They'll have to take the long way around to get past my defenses. But now I know what's on this side.
At the same time, you could just...
I could open the door.
Put your crystal over there.
Yes, it means I also have a very short run to leaving this level, but again, there's no penalty for staying on a level, apart from more waves of enemies, but since they move so slowly, as long as you've got, like, good defenses, it is never really going to be an issue how many monsters are coming at you at once. Because if you notice, I really just have this tiny little kill hole
yeah, it's a
that
bottleneck.
Nothing to get past. Which is awesome from a strategy standpoint, but again, since there aren't that many blueprints or even items, it gets kind of repetitive. But, so, my verdict, if you like roguelikes, or if you like turn-based strategy games, Dungeons & Dredmor comes to mind. I would recommend this game. It's cool. It's very pretty. It's one of the prettiest, like, roguelike indie games I've ever played. And, as always, the music from Amplitude is going to be fantastic. And he is stuck. So, this has been Wanderbot and Shell trying out Dungeon of the Endless. I keep wanting to call it Endless Dungeon, but that is not it. And I hope you guys had a good time seeing this game.
Watch out!
You ain't gonna make it. Oh, he got one hit in. Oh well, not that big of a deal. Should probably start lighting things, all things considered. Anyway, so, if you like what we're doing here, please toss me or us like, comment, or a subscribe, because it really helps us out. If you want to talk about this game, definitely ask me whatever you want, because I've seen all there is in this game at this point. And, if you want to see more, I will probably be doing more at least once per week, if not more. So, yeah. I will see you guys on the next review. And so will Shell. She never likes saying goodbye. She has issues with that part.
Not used to this. I think this is the first time you've actually brought me on.
Yeah, that's
At
true.
least for this segment.
Yeah. Anyway, see you guys on the next review.